history he fully expected them to make. To Trisha, medicine was where both her identities crossed over inside her, much the same way that the two optic nerves crossed over the chiasm, the hallowed spot in the brain where her patient's tumor was tragically located. Which meant that Emma Kane was going to lose sight in both eyes when Trisha performed the surgery that would save her life. In her 5 years of performing surgery, this was the first time a patient of hers was going to go blind. The irony was cruel. The year Trisha turned 13, her family had been on their annual summer trip to Shripur. As was his routine, HRH spent most mornings visiting the many royal charities. His pet project was the orphanage for blind children that his father had built just before he died. Trisha was the only one of the children he had asked to accompany him to the orphanage that day, a rare treat she had rubbed in her siblings' faces. Subtly, of course. The Raje children were expected to be dignified in all things, and tormenting one another was not an exception. At the orphanage, Trisha had followed her father up the gray cement stairs where the headmistress greeted them with a welcome party of children lined up along the hallway in their white and navy school uniforms. One of the girls, roughly the same age as Trisha, had stepped up to her. She had reached out and touched Trisha's face, traced her brows over her glasses, her cheeks, her jaw. Her hand had smelled of paint, chemical yet earthy. Her touch had been moist and cool. "You're pretty," she had whispered with a smile that wondrously reached her eyes, where her pupils were sheathed in cloudy white film. Her shy voice had been at odds with the bold touch of her hand, the unself-conscious whiff of her breath, and when she had stepped away, Trisha had felt punched in the chest by a feeling she couldn't place. An empty, hungry restlessness that had knocked her completely off balance. For the rest of the visit, she had felt like a balloon with a leak, pressure siphoning out of her pores and slipping through the silk kurta her mother insisted she wear for public appearances. She had carried the feeling back to the palace with her, like a parasite inside her body she couldn't expel. Hours later, her father had found her hiding in the room she shared with her older sister, Nisha, curled up on the 4-poster bed the Rajkumaris had slept on since the first Maharaja built the palace in the 1600s. Often at night, her brothers and sister and cousins gathered on the huge bed and pretended it was a battleship from which they conquered the world. The warmth of the teakwood posts had a way of stealing into Trisha's bones, and the quilted silk of the coverlets had a way of anchoring her until she felt invincible. But that day, Trisha had felt afloat on it, unanchored, unable to bring herself back from the gray-washed walls of the orphanage, from the sightless children working in rows at the long workshop tables under ceiling fans that turned the summer air with a ponderous buzz and scattered the smell of ink and shaved wood around the room. They had stamped and glued, the rhythm of their movements keeping time to their chatter as knickknacks and toys gathered into piles in the baskets beside them. "What about today bothered you?" her father had asked when he found her. Back then, he still cared to come looking for her when she was lost. Try as she might, Trisha had not been able to articulate what she was feeling. HRH had lowered himself into the armchair next to the bed and waited. The quintessential prince, his spine straight but not stiff, his strength at once shaming her and making her want to be just like him. God, she had wanted so badly to be just like him. "It's important to identify what bothers you," he had said, in that beautifully clipped diction that always became more pronounced when they were in Shripur. "If you can't pinpoint what bothers you, how will you fix it?" He'd waited, His silence insisted.